But then I realised, why am I covering up my reality? Because this is my reality. I feel like I'm doing a lot of it by myself. To do the math here, right? I had the second baby and I just wasn't coping. And it wasn't because I had a baby, it was because I was struggling with the dynamic change of shit. Like now I'm looking after two kids. I'm still racing to do 40 hours a week in my finance job. So here we are. I'm getting a divorce. The reason why I'm making this is because I know the choice I've made is it's not normal in today's society. I don't think it's ever really been considered normal, but that doesn't mean it's not healthy. And also, you guys want context. I'm going to give you context. Let me just say, I can only give so much context because I'm still navigating it. I'm not yet divorced. God, I'm anxious. So, I've been suggesting things for quite a while about me getting a divorce, but I haven't actually said it. Now, I've said it online, and my God, I'm being dragged. The internet is taking me by my ponytail and dragging me, right? And you know what? You might think, why is she laughing? Or there's people who are saying, oh, all this is for internet and for clout. And you couldn't be further from the truth. So here's the context. And again, this is the reason why I'm giving you context. One, I don't owe anybody anything. I have only lived my marriage, and so has the other person. However, I'm a content creator. I chose to share my life. I don't really like it when others give everything and then just on mute. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean you need to give everything, but just address it. And I'm addressing it, I'm owning it, right? But not just that, I'm being dragged for many reasons, which is just not the reason why I ended the divorce. But the biggest reason of all is the amount of messages I've got from people you cannot even believe. Now, I don't want to drag anyone else into this. It's nothing to do with the other people, but those happy households that you see online, offline, people you grew up with, their parents, they're messaging me saying, I wish I could have done what you did 20 years ago. So I feel I need to make this video because it just tells me that what I did and it wasn't an easy decision to say, no, I don't want this marriage anymore. And even when I did, I didn't care about the internet's validation, but I knew that one day I might think, will I regret this? Won't I regret this? And just getting messages from other households that have been married for 40, 50 years saying, I wish I could have had the courage to do it 20 years ago. Now it's too late. It breaks my heart because it's never too late. So I actually asked for a divorce over a year ago. So that everyone who's saying it's like, I don't know. I mean, again, this video is not for those people. They're going to drag me regardless. This will be clipped up and be dragged. I'm dragged. I'm dragged on the internet. But I asked for a marriage over a year ago. I mean, not a marriage, a divorce. I asked for a divorce over a year ago. Now, I do want to say I did get married at a young age, but I don't really feel like that played a humongous part in the reason why I chose divorce today. What I do want to say is when I met what's going to be my ex-husband, my children's father, and he met me, we both had different needs. We were both in a different time in our lives, and we've grown through different parts of our lives over 10 whole freaking years. So, actually, before we get into this, let me just give this disclaimer. You're all going to say, why didn't you put this video out first? I had no intention of making this video. And the reason why I had no intention is because I didn't want it to be a massive drag fest of my ex-husband or soon to be ex-husband. I don't want it to be a drag fest. I don't want it to feel like you have to pick a side. And I've seen so many households where they separate and the kids feel like they pick a side or the parents are point scoring. We're not in that situation. So this is why I didn't want to do it. But I'm doing it now because I feel it's necessary, but also because of the other women. I don't want to, I can't physically respond to everybody. Again, I'm being dragged. So there's so many notifications on my phone. I just can't respond to anybody. So when I married him and he married me, we had different needs. I worked 3 jobs. He had his 9 to 5 job. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career, and that was fine. I was still really young. So I pulled my weight by just working 3 different jobs, and he pulled his weight by working his one job, which was his career. Fine. Hats off to you. What I will say is, over the years, when you have a family, dynamics change. You know, when people say, like, you don't know anyone until you live with them. No, you don't know anyone until you have a child with them. And that's not me saying have a child and find out who they are. What I'm saying is, living with someone is a walk in the park. Having a baby with them is another. I think what happened is, so let me be clear.
Yeah, because
lots of people are also doubting the content as well that's been online, and I don't ever want you to doubt that. I asked for this divorce over a year ago. You probably will have seen we've taken family trips. We celebrated our son's birthdays together. That wasn't a lie. We wasn't pretending for the camera. It's because we're trying to co-parent. And I do hope that when this is completely ironed out and we're both in our separate homes, we still continue to co-parent. I don't want it to be, you know, you go to your dad for this, you come to your mum for me. No, like, you know, if our kids are doing something, let's text each other, let's get together, let's celebrate our kids together. Let's, whether we have another relationship or not. And let's be real, we probably are going to have other relationships. I'm fucking 28 years old. He's 35 years old. We're probably going to have more relationships. However, I don't want anything after this point to jeopardize what we've created. This is the reason why it's taken a year for me to even say it aloud, because I've tried to take a different approach to this divorce. And this is what the internet has got so wrong. So let's just rewind. I'm going to put a clip here of a TikTok that I posted. I posted it on TikTok, I posted it on Instagram. The world has gone mad. The reason I'm clapping so hard is because I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for not just saying it to myself, for not just saying it aloud, but for following through with it. So my needs always felt fulfilled in this marriage when I was younger. When I was younger, though, I was going out with my friends. Like I said, I had 3 jobs. I had, you know, I'm living for myself. So anything that may have been missing or felt missing, it's less noticeable when you've got so much going on. But when you have a baby with somebody, and naturally, most people who become mothers, they don't continue to live the life they lived before they were pregnant. And I definitely didn't. So now I'm a mom. I'm a housewife. I'm a working housewife. Like, I've worked in finance for 8 years. So when you take that, I do my finance job, and then I'm a mom, and then I'm a wife. Outside of that, there's not much more going on because I'm choosing to put all my energy into those 3 things: work, motherhood, marriage, right? It reached a point in my marriage where I just didn't feel seen anymore. And that's nothing. No, I don't want it to be like, oh, it's all him. I don't want it. This is not a point scoring fest. Let me stress that so much. It's not all him. I've made mistakes. He's made mistakes, but we've always had such a healthy, happy marriage. We've never had any like infidelity or anything like that. However, I just stopped feeling seen in the marriage. And when you
if you're not feeling seen in the marriage, how isn't that his fault? And I mean, I don't know why she's doing, like, trying to, I guess, protect him or whatever in this instance, but like, whose fault is it? How could that be your fault if you feel like you're not being seen? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Because basically what I'm saying is so you would still be married had he seen you, right? Had he recognized you, had he made you feel seen in your marriage, you would still be married. So that sounds like it is his fault. But I don't know, maybe I'm misinterpreting that.
When you put that with being a mom, I just think it's a recipe for disaster. So myself and my kid's dad, we've tried for a long time. and everything you've seen of us has been absolutely it. However, one person can't build a wall by themselves. You know, you need the other person to show up for you, right? And I don't feel I was being showed up for like that. And again, it's nothing. I'm not trying to drag him. He doesn't need to be dragged. He just wasn't fulfilling me anymore as a person. But anyway, I had my
Again, then I mean, it's not about dragging him. It's about being honest, though. And you're saying, honestly speaking, he didn't fulfill you. He didn't show up for you. Okay, that sounds like his fault. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. I mean, I guess she's just trying. She just don't want the internet to come for him. And it's like, then don't tell the story. You know what I mean? But if you're gonna tell it, just tell it and let us do what we do as far as the listeners are concerned. Because it's kind of confusing where you're saying like, oh, it's not his fault, but then say like, yeah, he didn't see me. Like, okay, then that sounds like it's his fault. And that's okay to admit. It's not about dragging him, but it's okay to admit that.
my second baby. I had my first baby in lockdown. So all I had to do is survive. So that was easy for me. Everybody who I wasn't on social media when I first had my first baby, but all my friends were like, when you have a baby, wait, it's going to hit you and la 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 la. You're going to be struggling to clean. Your house will be a mess. And I just didn't get that. I had my baby 17 days or something into lockdown. So all I had to do is wake up, eat, sleep, repeat. And it was the most blissful way and most blissful entry into motherhood. So again, things that have bothered me the second time round may not have been highlighted so much because he was here, I was here, we were just looking after our baby. But when we had a second baby, I always knew, regardless of marriage, it was going to hit me, right? Because I'm now experiencing motherhood for the first time, but with 2 kids. Is that my kids? I can hear the door. It's not. I'm now experiencing motherhood for the first time, but with 2 kids. So I always knew it was going to be difficult because I didn't have to do the whole school run, rush around, go to work with a tiny baby. I just didn't have to do that the first time. So I did that the second time, right? And I remember saying to my husband at the time, this is a lot and I really need your help. And the kid's dad, you've all seen him on the internet. He's a nice guy, you know. He's like, how can I help? And I truly believe he thought the help was just saying he would help. I don't know. I told him what I needed from him and he acknowledged what I needed from him, but I didn't feel any change. And what I do want to say is towards the end, before I asked for the marriage, when I would do vlogs, I would include Farhan in the vlog towards the end of the day because I didn't want it to be like a big hate fest of why are you doing all this by yourself and where's your husband? But then I realized, why am I covering up my reality? Because this is my reality. I feel like I'm doing a lot of it by myself. So do the math here, right? I had the second baby and I just wasn't coping. And it wasn't because I had a baby. It was because I was struggling with the dynamic change of shit. Like now I'm looking after 2 kids. I'm still racing to do 40 hours a week in my finance job. I'm getting them dressed in the morning. I'm dropping them to school. I'm going to work. I'm racing from work. I'm picking them up. I'm feeding them. I'm showering them. I'm putting them in bed. And then Farhan would return home from work. So, my baby dad's out with his friends and he's not at home. But when I really needed him, I don't think he understood the gravity of what I meant when I said I really needed him.
I want to say something real quick. It's, to me, you could be a nice guy or whatever. That's fine. Not cheat, don't beat, got a job. You know what I mean? We know. Bare minimum shit. But it sounds exactly like it sounds to me. It sounds like he wasn't interested in actually showing up for her, no matter how much she told him, I need for you to show up for me. It sounds like he didn't care to show up for her. And he wasn't mean about it. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't mean about it. Maybe he received it. Maybe he didn't, push back too hard or whatever the case may be. So in her mind, it made it feel like, oh, like he'll understand, he'll get it, or he's nice or whatever. But impact over intent, because ultimately, he ended up still, abandoning her or whatever, neglecting her to, a really like a like a far extent, obviously, because now they're getting divorced. I know it wasn't lightly that it happened, and she's just like, I'm out, you know what I'm saying? So if you listen to her, she's very deliberate about everything she's saying. So yeah, it kind of doesn't matter. Like that he he didn't take it wrong or poorly or whatever. I guess that just would have made it worse, but he still didn't do what she wanted him to do. And he knew. So what do you call that? He knew. Is he still a nice guy? And that's the thing about nice guys. And that's the thing about the proverbial good man or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're good, whatever. But then he intentionally neglected her because he knew better. And he still chose not to. It wasn't like he didn't know. He knew, and he was neglecting her. So sounds pretty terrible thus far.
And I want you all to know that this is not a knee-jerk reaction of, I said it, you didn't listen, now it's finished. That's not what happened. I almost begged. You know what I mean? Like, I almost begged. But the kid's dad is so different to me. He's so different to me. And that is okay too. I don't work well with words. Please, like, show me. Show me. And I didn't feel like I was being shown, just because obviously he was leaving early for work. He was getting home late for work. So by the time he's come home to show anybody, nowadays I'm shy, respectfully. I'm finished. I've had enough. I'm tired. I've already done all the hard work. So when you're returning saying, what can I do? Day's done. You know what I mean? Like, it was a bit of a recipe for disaster, I'll admit. But that naturally caused friction in our marriage, because I constantly felt alone. I honestly felt so alone. I thought, single moms talk about this struggle, and my mom was a single mom, and they talk about this struggle, and I struggled to see the discrepancy between my marriage and being a single mom. And again, it's not dragging him. I just don't think he thought, wait a minute, let me get a different job, because kids are not a 1 year, 2 year, it's a lifelong thing. Let me get a job closer to home, which I had the first time around, which means that I can, actively support her much more than past 7:30. Do you know what I mean? So that played a massive role in it.
So he was hiding behind the idea that he had to go to work. Okay. He was that was the thing. Also very common. I remember I had a dude on my live, and he was talking about how he was a trucker, and he tried to he lied. He was lying, but whatever. Similar but different. But he was basically saying, like, if his finances would have changed, then his wife would have left him. So it was like he was damned if he do and damned if he didn't. And I didn't believe that. But a lot of times when men don't get a new job or they don't want to cut their hours, is because they're deliberately trying to ignore their tasks at home. And, could have been the case in this case. Don't know the man, right? Not saying that that's what happened, but again, that's odd. So he knew what he could have done to stop it. He knew it was like, hey, damn, my job is pulling me away. When we had the first shot, I worked closer. I was able to show up more. Okay, so I probably should just get a job closer to home. Nope, didn't do that. Just kept moving along at the same pace and in the same manner. So again, what does that say? It's deliberate, right?
And again, I've been really open and honest about my toxic relationship with my parents, my lack of family presence. But I also want you to know, I also asked for the divorce before my mom died. So it wasn't my mom dying and me going to Bali and all the rest of it. The Bali was actually meant to be a family trip. It was supposed to be a family trip. Maybe it was God as to why it ended up being a solo trip. And I don't regret it at all. And we actually got to that conclusion because Far was like, maybe we shouldn't take the kids there. Maybe it's not good for kids, because it's like on an island or whatever. And he knew I really wanted to go there at the beginning of the year. He said, maybe you should go by yourself. I don't know if he was calling my bluff. I don't know what it was. But he said, maybe you should go by yourself. And I was like, you know what? Maybe, because you traveled and I never traveled. And we've already said we're going to get a divorce now, so maybe this is what I need. But then obviously my mum died, and when she died, I feel like people think I had like this midlife crisis where I'm like, that is it, I'm ending my marriage. That's not what happened. But when my mom died, she died of an accident. So when I saw her on the day she died, on the evening she died, I went straight to where she was and I saw her dead. It really shook me awake and told me, Aaliyah, this is that you've made the right choice. And the reason why I'll say that is because my mum was a single parent. She always raised us by herself. My dad was really absent, but she never made us feel that. So when, no matter whether it'd be 3 years, 4 years, when he would come, I always saw them be friends. I always saw her put him before herself. I always saw her just shrink into motherhood. And there's so many people in the comments saying, you're selfish because you're putting yourself before your children. No, you're not. You know, my children are first, and that's why I've come to this conclusion, because the person I became in the misery of my marriage was not good enough as a mother.
That's what she's talking about that she went through. That's not the same thing. Like, she's not putting herself first. It's a collective thing, because the mother and the child are they're one almost. You know what I mean? So if the mother doesn't have enough in her cup to support the children, then she has to, she has to do what she has to do to make sure she has enough in her cup to fill up the children. So it's not selfish at all. That's what she needs for the children's sake. Because if she's not there, some people have mothers that are so withdrawn from life that they don't see their moms, because their moms are so tired or so beat down from life. Their moms go to work and come home and go upstairs and neglect the children. You know what I mean? Like, that's selfish. That's selfish. But the mothers that make sure that they have some to give, that's not selfish. And that's what she's talking about.
For them. And when I saw her dead, I remember saying to her, when I was a teenager, we used to always say, please, mom, do something for yourself. She used to say, I can't, I'm a mom now. We used to say, who makes these rules? And you know what? I thought, Aaliyah, she didn't listen. Why are you not listening to yourself? Who makes these rules? I didn't enjoy. I reached a point where I just didn't enjoy being a mother anymore. It reached the point where I every day was like, I opened my eyes and I thought, not again. Again, because I just felt like I had this burden of endless tasks that I've not yet finished from yesterday that I'm waking up to today. Do you know what I mean? So I'm already waking up with a weight on my back, and now I still got to take this weight off my back, but I'm more adding because I've still got to get to my job on time and all the rest of it.
That's the part that a lot of men don't recognize, is how women, their job never stops. Like, their job never ends. It keeps going. And your job ends. Even if you work long hours, you still get a reprieve at some point in time. But women never get the break. And she worked. She worked, but she still never got a reprieve. She never got the break she needed. She never got the relief. And I can't imagine that. I can't. I think I can try to, but I really can't. I really don't know what it feels like. I don't know what it feels like, because I have a wife that doesn't require that of me. Like, I don't have to ever feel like that, because she's always there. She's always supporting, and she's always like doing things that needs to be done. So I don't know what that feels like.
So yeah, it's nothing against Far. It's nothing against, if Far doesn't not like me, and like, this is what's crazy. He's not telling.
He doesn't like you, though. I don't think he does. I don't think he really does. He doesn't like you enough. He doesn't like you enough. He doesn't. It's not an all, all or nothing. Okay. He doesn't like her enough, though. Clearly, right? He doesn't like her enough. Because why not? Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do the thing? She's giving you the instructions. She told you what she needed. You're not doing the thing. What is it? He's bipolar. He has some mental disease. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if that's the case, then fine. But that's not the case, right? So what is it? What is it if it's not that?
Everybody, oh my God, she's the. Ask him. He hasn't got social media like that. He has a private profile. Does he really share? Not really, but ask him whenever you want. You all bump into him all the time. He will tell you about me. And you know why I'm so confident on that? Because I know with every action I've taken in this marriage, it's been of the best interest of him, then my kids, then myself. And it only changed when I realized maybe how he shows up now in a marriage is just not how you want him to show up anymore in a marriage. And maybe what you want from a marriage is not what you necessarily asked in the beginning. And that's nothing to do with social media. So yeah, I hope the context clears it up. I am getting a divorce. I do want to address another thing because a lot of you are asking me, like, I want to do it how? I don't know where to start. And everyone's saying, just because you're financially free, you're able to do this. You couldn't be further from the truth. Right now, it's an incredible inconvenience to get a divorce. But I don't want temporary inconvenience to prevent me from making permanent life choices. Because right now, back then, it wasn't an enjoyable place anymore. And one thing about me and the kids' dad is we've always been able to get along and be friends. And anything slipping out of that, I just can't risk because we have 2 kids to raise, whether we're together or apart. I don't want him to not like me. I don't want to not like him. So yeah, I asked for the marriage. Wait, sorry, I keep thinking my kids are back and I don't want to have this conversation when my kids are in the house. I asked for a divorce over a year ago. I've continued to live with Far. I say live, I'm not, let me just change that before you all fucking snip this up and put it on TikTok. We've continued to live together. This is our house. We've paid 50-50 for this house. I don't want anything from him that is his. I don't expect he wants anything from me that is mine. I know how traditional marriages go, and I hope this video helps you understand that I'm not following the traditional route of either the man runs off with everything or the woman just snatches everything. No, I don't. If I take from him, I'm taking from my kids. Don't be foolish. I don't want anything. I just want peace of mind. And I've attained that. And what's really crazy is you are all like, oh, you lost weight. And you know, when I started losing weight, when I realized, oh shit, this is not helpful. And then the reason I had this little glow up and everyone's like, where's the glow coming from? My divorce. Come on, bruv. Like, stop. Like, my divorce was making me, I felt lighter. I felt like, you know what, when I wake up, yeah, I'm still stressed with my kids. Yeah, I've still got these things to do. Yeah, I've still got a job. Yeah, I've still got to be a mom. But I don't have to emotionally show up for someone who I feel isn't emotionally showing up for me. Do you understand? Respectfully, though. So, yeah, we've continued to live together for a year now. Over a year to figure this out. I know some people might be like, that is torture. You are torturing yourself. Some may call it torture. I think sometimes people make these decisions and then just run that way, which I know in some circumstances you have to because of the circumstance, but we're not in those circumstances. I don't want to run because I also can't imagine running and then finding our way back together to healthily communicate about our kids. So we've lived together now for over a year, and I've been ready to talk about it since it happened. I don't know if Far has. I never have asked him, can I put it on the internet? But it reached a point where he's now told people. So now it's time for me to tell people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just waited until it felt organic, and that's been recently. So now we've told people, and now we're going to move into the next phase. We're probably going to live separately until we separate our assets and split them 50-50, everything we built together, 50-50, everything we built separately before, keep it, whatever. So now we're going to move into the next phase of living separately because, again, like I said, Far has very long work hours. He's gone for the majority of the day, so that won't cause too much disturbance in the kids wondering where he is. Because he comes back when they're sleeping, they don't really notice much difference. So now I think we're okay to live separately until we split our assets. And then once we split our assets, we're going to pick somewhere collectively together, a town. I mean, I told him already, I don't want to be your neighbor because fuck me, like, let me have a minute. But we'll pick a town close together in homes that we can provide our kids with similar lifestyles in. and we'll take it from there. But that's that. Everyone's saying I'm doing this to get. I am.
Hold on real quick. And you see this, like, so he's going to have to change his lifestyle now because he wasn't able to change it while they were married. Like, when you really think about it, that's crazy. Like, on him, I'm saying, like, that's nuts that he wouldn't or couldn't change his lifestyle prior to the divorce. And this happens all the time with men. Like, men will not adjust and be like, it's just easier to do whatever we're doing now. And then they get divorced. And I'm like, but now your life is harder. And now, you know what I mean? Like, you took a financial hit and like, why didn't you take a financial hit during the marriage? Get a job closer to home. Okay, I can't make the money. You don't have her anymore though, man. You took a financial hit. Or what men do is they end up working, or they live 5 hours away or 7 hours away or state away or country away. Like, what? From your kids? Y'all didn't like them babies to begin with. Men prove every day that they don't really like them babies to begin with. But this right here is so, it summarizes perfectly what happens in the relationship and how men like really don't expect that the woman is going to leave. Because if you really thought it through as a man, what did you think was going to happen? Eventually she breaks. Your lifestyles have to change. She leaves you. She moves 5 hours away. She moves 6 hours away. You're not going to see your kids. You're going to see your kids even less. You got to spend money. You got to pay out of pocket. You got to da. Why wouldn't you just change during the marriage? Right? Why be forced to adjust? It's because it was all about control during the marriage. And I know this because the misogyny that exists in men, like, it is such a large amount, right? And a lot of men don't even know where it's coming from. They don't, like, you don't know why you think it's okay for you to go to work and come home at 7:30 at night and not even see your kids. You don't understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go, I gotta make a money, I gotta make $1, unless that woman is telling you that, no, I got it, I'm not tripping, do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love you. And there are women who do that. But if your woman is like her and she's advocating for herself over and over and over and over again within the relationship, then something has to give. Something has to give. And the misogyny is the thing that makes you believe that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to adjust. You can keep on just ignoring and neglecting and pushing off because you're the man and you need to make money and whatever excuse you give yourself. She's the homemaker, even though in this case, she worked 40 hours a week. So she can figure it out. She has to make less money so she can work from home. You know what I'm saying? She's willing to do all of this, but you're not. That's what I'm saying. And then now, I'm pretty sure, again, I'm just assuming she probably was making less money than she would have had she, if she didn't have kids, right? She's making less money now. If she didn't have, like, if she didn't have kids, she would be making more money. But she took a financial hit by having kids. Cool. It is what it is, right? That's a society punishes mothers. Okay. But this whole time, he hasn't taken a financial hit. And she has she enabled him to be able to work far away from the house and neglect his children and abandon his duties as a father. She allowed him to do that. She took care of it until she couldn't anymore. But the real world effects, the material circumstances still exist. He still makes more money because of the labor that she did and that she's doing for him. And she made less money because of the labor and all that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying, I don't even know if she makes more or less money than him. I'm saying she makes less money than she would have been able to make on her own. So she would be able to make more money. And also, he would be making less money had he made the sacrifices that she made financially to make sure that he can show up for his family the same way that she's showing up for their family.
Do you know what? Let me just apologize before I say it, because some of these comments, I'm smiling because it's like, correct. It's so far from the truth. I was actually reading something far, and he was like, "Do they even know who you are?" I was like, "Clearly not." People are saying like, "I'm bored of the, so I'm trying to find more," or "I'm going back to the streets." Sis, you couldn't catch me in the streets. People think I'm doing this because I believe the grass is greener on the other side. No, the grass is greener where you water it. And I'm watering my own grass. It's for me. I'm actually okay being a single mom by myself. I don't intend to date for a minute. I don't intend to even, I don't want any of that. Seriously. And even if I did, so what? But I really don't. Trust me. I know that I feel my best self when I'm looking after myself and I'm looking after my kids. And I've enjoyed looking after them so much more in this last year than I did before. And I'll just say that. And anyone who judges me for that, you're already judging.
I don't judge you for that at all. That is a known thing that's going on. Women being in relationships and being like a single mom when it comes to the kids, but then they're also like a caretaker for their husband. So you have an additional amount of labor that you have to do emotionally, mentally, and physically. And so you want to cut because it's so hard to already do it with the kids, you know, and it's so frustrating to have a fully capable human being right next to you, not helping you out at all, which adds to the anger, which adds to the anxiety, which adds to the frustration, which adds to the mental load. And then you're just like, okay, I could do all bad all by myself, even though she's not going to do bad. She's doing better, right? We need to chill. We need to make new lyrics and update it because she's not doing bad. She's doing better by herself.
Me, I can't apologize for it. So yeah, that is that. Oh, everyone seems to think that I'm going to regret this. And I can tell you for damn sure right now, I won't. And you know why I won't? I'm not like most women. You understand? I know.
Most women don't regret getting divorced either, ma'am.
Okay, my kids are here. So we're going to have to wrap this up because they're going to come in like, ah! With Fall, by the way. Haven't hired a nanny. It's not right. Oh, you know, Jesus. Everyone's saying I'm going to regret this. You know why I won't regret this? Because I spent 10 years trying. Anyone who wants to judge me, try for 10 years in a marriage. Try for 10 years in a marriage and then tell me. I won't regret this. You know why I won't regret it? Because I'm so much happier now. I am able to leave this with a friend who's also the father of my children and give my children way more than I had. But also, I know that, and I've said this to him, you're going to get married, have a girlfriend, whatever it is for you, and you're going to treat her. You're maybe not treat, that's the wrong word. You're going to show up for her in ways that I don't feel you showed up for me. And I can't envy that. You know why? Because you're doing that because of what you've learned from this marriage. And I will equally do the same when I meet my person, whenever that may be. No time soon. Get out of my DMs. But I'd only be able to do that with the knowledge and life lessons of this marriage. So when he meets Shakira, Samira, Sally, I'm making up names, whoever it is, and he treats her great. I want that for him. I don't want him to be miserable. Why would he? If he's miserable, he's going to put that misery into my kids. He doesn't want me miserable because I'll put that misery into my kids. We just want what's best for our kids. Hence the reason why it's taken a year to even, or over a year to even talk about it. So yeah, it's been a while. You're all probably going to troll back through all my content now and actually realize I'm telling the truth. It's been over a year since I solicited this divorce. And what I do, another thing that I do want to say as well, when I asked for the divorce, we still wore our rings. We still wore the rings to avoid any questions, just because we never said don't tell anyone.
Because people be nosy. I get it.
But we just wanted to navigate it privately before whatever. We still wore our rings. What happened to my ring when I shared it all with you on TikTok about me damaging it and breaking the center stone actually happened. And let me tell you, it was a relief because I thought, thank God. I think I would still have that ring on in 40 years' time. I would have been like, can't take it off, won't take it off. It got damaged and I thought, thank God. Now we don't even have to lie. Fall's not got on his ring anymore. I don't have on my ring. You all know we're getting divorced. We're not angry at each other. I don't know why you're all angry at me. And I do want to say, everyone who is, all the people in the comments, giving me like racial abuse, coming for my looks, coming for who I am, coming for my motherhood. Genuinely, one, you're saying you're doing it to protect him. Anyone who likes and protects him would never insult him over his children like that. It's just insane. But two, I swear, nothing that you've ever, nothing, no comment thus far has impacted me. It's because it's so far from the truth. So please save your data because it's a waste of time. However, we are giggling at you all because, I mean, not all of you, but the people who are like, she's ruined his life is...
I won't say that she ruined his life. And I know that she doesn't want to say that he ruined her life, but at the end of the day, he didn't live up to his end of the bargain. It doesn't sound like it went both ways. It doesn't sound like she failed the marriage or whatever. It really just sounds like he did the stereotypical thing that men do, and we just don't show up. And it's sad. And I've been there, and I weave in and out of that. I ain't gonna even lie, as a husband, I weave in and out of that. I show up, I don't. I show up, I don't. I think I'm showing up. I'm not showing up enough. Right? But you as the man, you have to want to show up. You have to be dedicated. You have to. It's just the reality. This is honestly one of the things for me when I like me making this content is you guys don't know this because I don't, unless I tell you, but like I see a lot of the mistakes I made in my relationship when I make this content, when I research this stuff, when I read, when I listen to the stories that women tell. I see it. I see myself. I see the things that I made. I see the way that I thought, even if I haven't made the mistake yet, but all that stuff. So it's healthy for me personally. And this is why I be imploring men to join in, because you will too. Like you will see it too. If you start to listen to women more, you start to listen to their stories or whatever, it's important. Like I could sit up here and I could just share content from men all day long, but it wouldn't tell the story. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't tell the story. That's why I try to mix it up a lot. But I love listening to women's stories, whether they be good or bad, but I love listening to women's stories because everything that she said, my wife has said to me at some point in time, maybe not all at once, but you know what I'm saying? Her overall story, besides the divorce, I felt and I've seen it and I've heard it for myself. I've seen it in my cousin's wedding. I've seen it in my cousin's marriage. I've seen it in my brother's marriage. I've seen it in my friends' marriages, in my coworkers' marriages. From the, you know what I mean? I've seen the men not show up the way that the women needed them to, over and over and over again. And some of us figured it out. Some of the women, are just suffering still in silence. And some of us are divorced because of it. So I'll leave you with that message, man. You can listen to her and you can be a better person, or you cannot, and take a chance and see what happens. But I would suggest you just change.